Hi everybody. Okay, so I'm doing this video because we did have a verdict come in yesterday, but I'm not going to reveal it until a little bit later. Okay, because if I revealed it now, you guys just would listen for the verdict and then leave. So I'm going to give you a couple of my thoughts on everything. And I've been thinking about this the whole trial, so I didn't really make a list. I made a list in my head of the witnesses I liked and the witnesses I didn't, and just the strategies you used and all this stuff. And then, yeah, I'll get to the verdict. Okay, so my favorite witness was Lucky Loughran. Brian Loughran, the tow plow driver, um, that plowed the street twice that night and didn't see a body, didn't see anything. And I like him because he's just an honest witness. And no matter what the prosecution tried to say and tried to put words in his mouth, it didn't work. Okay. Another one I liked was Dr. Russell. Again, she's a little bit different. She was an expert witness, and she said it's a dog bite. It looks like a dog attack. It doesn't look like a car wreck or a car accident. So, and I don't like her just for that. It's just that, well, there's some things I didn't like because I didn't like how the prosecution treated her. And yeah, I don't expect everybody to treat everybody like really friendly. You know what I mean? Because I understand they're on opposing sides. But when this woman has enough experience and whatever that more than you've been alive, she kind of deserves respect, man. And you just weren't showing it. You're being a bad guy, and you didn't have to be. That's the reason why I didn't like Hank Brennan at all. Because I believe in the fact of everything you do, you have a choice. You can go one way or the other way. And in this case, you could be nice or you could be really like nitpicky and just mean. And that's how he was with everybody, not just her. So yeah. Okay. So one I didn't really understand and I kinda didn't like because um alright. First of all, her name was Kelly Dever. Is the correct pronunciation. However, I didn't like her because she came off as a teenager, although I think she's 26 years old, because she had the pouty lip and the whatever. And I'm not saying that you have to smile. I know you're in the middle of a trial here and a murder trial, okay? But you could still have nice decorum and not look like somebody's trying to do something to you that you don't want done. So that's why I didn't like her. And also, when they mistakenly mispronounced her name, she had a tizzy about it's Dever and not Deaver. Although, here's the part I feel bad for her slightly because I feel like she was new on the force at that point. And I guarantee you that it was either a mixture of you're too young, too new, whatever, or it's a boys' club and they don't want anybody else in there. So when she tried to tell the truth, they told her protect the blue wall or the blue line, whatever you want to call it. And even though you saw that, you didn't see it. And then they put her job as a if you don't do this, you'll lose your job. And I don't think that's right for them to do either. So that's why I feel like she was put in a bad spot. But that doesn't negate her attitude on the stand. So yeah. Um okay. So I could go through the whole list, but I won't do that. Okay, so then what happened yesterday is that we had a kind of a false start and then we had a verdict after that. Okay, I'll explain. yesterday we were watching and waiting for a verdict, and it had been 20 hours and some minutes, right? And I don't know how many minutes because I wasn't looking at the minutes part. I just knew it was 20 hours. Then they said, oh, we might have a verdict because they knocked on the door. One of the jury members knocked on the door, acted like they had a verdict, and then it turned out they didn't have a verdict. So then you go back into waiting again. Then about half an hour after that, because I remember this time just because I remember when we had a verdict, the clock stopped at 21 hours exactly and some seconds. So 21 hours. And they said the verdict was not guilty on unaliving in the first degree, not guilty of manslaughter, and all, but guilty on the OUI, which is just you have to be, your blood alcohol has to be 0.08 or higher, and you have to have been driving under the influence of a liquor or something, and that was their specification. Okay, so it was a victory because she didn't get charged on the major charges. Because really, when you look at it, like the OUI is a misdemeanor as compared to the other charges. Okay. So then my brain goes into, okay, is the judge going to be like hard on her and throw the book at her? Because I had discussed it before in my last video, not knowing how close we were to a verdict. But I said, if they say, okay, I'll compromise and give you the OUI, she could have been charged with up to 2.5 years in jail. Now, I also said, probably with it being her first offense, they wouldn't be that harsh. But then I also said the caveat of maybe, but with this judge, who knows? So what happened was she was found guilty of that. And then so the judge says, okay, when are we getting sentence her? And the prosecuting attorney did something nice for a change and said, we can do that now. And also, he recommended that she get a year of probation and have to go to classes or something, which is the usual standard procedure for first time offenders. So she got to walk out of the courtroom a free woman. Only thing is, she has a year of probation. She can't drink any alcohol or get a OUI, you know. So yeah. So a victory, but that was why I wanted to do it the way I did it. Was I wanted to explain everything and then explain why I thought what I thought, because I really thought she was going to get like a bunch of time in jail just so that they could prove a point. But it didn't go that way. It actually worked out the way that it normally would. So good. So, of course, I was really happy last night. But what happens is when you watch trials a lot, you have this like a major relaxing after being so nervous all the time. So I had to decompress. So, yeah, so that's it. Um, and also, which I think some of you guys know, but in here in America, once you get either charged with something or exonerated from it, they can't charge you with that again because it gets into double jeopardy. So she's free now. Only thing is now she has to rebuild her life, rebuild her money, probably move from Canton, because I was talking about it with my dad, and it's clear she doesn't have any friends in Canton, so I'd tell her to move as soon as she could. and just live a quiet life, which I'm guessing she's gonna try to live a quiet life after this. So that's all. Okay, bye everybody.